Do you think that sex adds or subtracts from your relationship happiness?
Well, Amy, what do you mean by that?
Barry and Emily McCarthy's book, Rekindle Desire, stated that the adage in sex therapy is that when sexuality goes well, it is a positive, integral, but not a major component. And it adds 15 to 20% to the couple's vitality and satisfaction. However, when sexuality is dysfunctional or non existent, it assumes an inordinately powerful role, 50 to 70%, robbing the partnership of intimacy and vitality.
Their book is Rekindle Desire is a fabulous book. And I think what I take from that statement is it's so easy to take our relationships for granted, especially our sexuality. It's like when things are going well, we're not really paying attention. Like when we're in sync with our partner and things are going well and we're having great sex and we're having a great relationship, we aren't paying attention. It's only when things start going sideways and when we start moving into a rut, that's when we start focusing in on what's happening to our relationship. And I say this because I think it's really in order to not get into a sex rut with your partner, you really need to pay attention when things are going well. Be grateful, acknowledge it, say it to your partner, hey, we're doing really great, or whatever you say to your partner, but just acknowledge that you're in this great zone with each other. And when you do that, it's easier to stay in that zone.
I think being intentional about all parts of our relationship is so important. And it's a challenge. It's hard because certainly in the busyness of everyday life, it's easy just to kind of let things day in and day out just kind of move on. And so, sort of reflecting back into what we talked about in last week's episode, practicing gratitude, being kind to your partner, and those are intentional steps that you can take to nurture your relationship, and that also nurtures your sex life.
And you know what? Sex should be a mutually fun space and something you look forward to. Sex should give you vitality and satisfaction. So this is the purpose of sex is to bring you closer, give you vitality, give your couples life satisfaction. So that's what it's there for.
Yeah, but here's the big but.
Oh, here's the but.
It is so easy to fall into a sex rut, and can be even more challenging to dig yourself out of it.
Yeah, and I think this is where a lot of couples find themselves, and they know that they've hit this rut, but they don't know how to discuss it with their partner. And you know what? Getting out of this rut doesn't have to be difficult. However, here's my but, Amy. However, the challenge is you need to understand and then take responsibility for how you got there in order to get yourself out. So a lot of people don't want to take responsibility for why they got there. They just want to blame their partner. They just want to point the finger at their partner. Sex is a two-way street, and it takes two people, and you have to take responsibility for how you got yourself here.
Yeah, I've heard that, unfortunately, more times than I would like to. I have a client that comes to me and they say, my husband, my partner, or sometimes it's the other way. My wife says something's wrong with me. This is my issue to fix. And how do I fix myself? And you're right. It takes two people to get there, and it takes two people to help work your way out of it.
Find out this and so much more by subscribing to the Sensational Sex Podcast. And please grab our free gift to you. Links will be in the description. And if you like this podcast, then make sure to check out this next one coming up.